All right, I want to talk about negative thoughts today. So, I used to be an extremely negative thinker. Hated myself, hated what was going on professionally, personally, anxiety, depression. It was terrible. I was a mess. I should have known I was a negative thinker, but I don't know if I did. I think I just thought it is what it is. I don't even know if I thought about it. I didn't know there was an alternative. I like to explain it that I was just a fish in water. If you think about it, a fish is born in water, they're always in it, and they die in water, and they never know what water is. When you were born and you have a very negative mind, and that's just the way you think, and that's how you walk through life, you don't even know that that's a thing. So, two things that I want to argue is that your negative voice that comes out of your subconscious mind, it's not you. That's number one. Your negative voice is not you. And number two, that it is not just always right. So, when I say that your inner voice is not you, what do I mean by that? When you're born from the age of 0 up to the age of 7, you don't have an inner voice. It actually turns on. It's called the default mode network. But from 0 to 7, you don't have the inner voice. You're just joyous. You're full of light. And around 6, 7, or 8, our inner voice turns on. Well, what does that mean? You were absorbing everything that was ever said to you up to that point from your mother, your father, your friends, teachers, siblings. It was just a recorder in your subconscious mind, the dark of your subconscious mind. It was absorbing all that positive, negative, neutral, everything you were learning. And then when your inner voice turns on at around 7 years old, that's what comes out. Now, I'm not saying it's not real. I'm using it right now to make this video and talk to you, but it's like a hammer. It's a tool that you use, but it's not you. Before that, you were just the light of consciousness, just what you see and experience, just your presence. That is actually you. That's the core of your essence. This voice that's always been there that you may have never questioned, it was put there. It's not you. One thing to think of if you start analyzing your negative thoughts, your negative voice, listen to the tone. Who does it sound like from your past? Could be your mom, your dad, a teacher, a sibling, maybe a combination. It's someone else's voice that they put in there. It's not you. The other thing I was going to argue is your negative voice is not just right. I always thought, oh, well, it just is what it is. That's what I'm thinking. Well, my quick story on that is I was super negative my whole life. I had low self esteem. I wasn't taking care of myself very well. I was a manager for over 10 years and I had insurance, but I just didn't take care of my teeth. And my lower teeth had yellowish brown hue on them. They looked kind of corroded. They looked rotted. They looked terrible. I tried not to smile. I felt really bad about myself. And after a long time, I finally went to the dentist. I'm not sure why. And I laid in the chair and they took care of me and they brought a mirror in front of me. And I got lucky. It was just some plaque and they took it all off. It's like I had a new lease on life. My smile looked great. My teeth were back to normal. And for me personally, this flipped a switch in my brain and I went, holy shit. It was like I hit a wall for a minute. And it was like, well, if I'm not horrible, nasty piece of garbage, I was telling myself, and that's what the teeth reflected, what else isn't true? And it was a long journey to get away from this negative voice, but it was the first time, almost like the matrix glitching, that I was like, wait, if that's not right, what else is? So you are not the negative voice that comes out of your subconscious mind. We're just the witness, and your negative voice is not always right. That's two very important things I want to press on you. One thing that can help on this journey is mindfulness, aka meditation. All right, so we have constant thinking. It's become so constant in the background, you probably don't even realize you're doing it. And statistically, 80% of people's thoughts are negative, even people that don't realize it. So chances are you're having a lot of negative thoughts. Mindfulness slows it down. You can see the thoughts coming out of your subconscious mind. You're not choosing to think them, they just bubble up, so they're not you. And you're going to realize a lot of them are silly, a lot of them are neutral, but a lot of them end up being critical and negative. So mindfulness can help you realize those 2 points that I was making. After time with mindfulness, once I realized that my negative voice wasn't always right and my negative voice wasn't me, I realized that life was already too hard, whether it was professionally or personally or just existential fun thoughts that we have. The outside world was already too tough. And I vowed no more self inflicted L's or losses. That's what I said in my head. Was I perfect? Absolutely not. But it was at least a vow I was making. And since I said it, my mind was primed to notice it. And every once in a while, I would catch one of those negative thoughts and I would go, absolutely not. I'm not going to harm myself anymore. The last quick point I'll leave you with, because if I'm talking to somebody that has negative thoughts that needs to work on them, like a past version of myself, I was very intellectual and not as much emotional. So I'm going to speak to your intellectual brain. This is most males and some females that have had a lot of trauma. So all of your thoughts, they can be positive or negative. They are just electricity that travels through your brain cells. So you have a thought, positive or negative, it travels through the electricity of your brain cells and that releases chemicals. And those chemicals can be positive or negative. So when you're just I'm beating myself up. No, 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 wait a minute. You are actually beating yourself up. You're releasing a ton of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and over extended time, it inflames the whole body. I'm not kidding. Your brain, your heart, your lungs, all your blood vessels, it's like putting a lighter under everything. You are destroying your body. You are actually chemically castrating yourself with these negative thoughts. So I encourage you to take inventory of your thoughts. Mindfulness meditation is a great tool to do that. You are not the voice in your head that comes out of your subconscious. The voice in your head is not always right. No more self inflicted L's. And I just want to bring that to your attention. It worked for me. Hopefully, it helps you. Take care, everybody.